Sorry, this is pretty new to us too. Um, okay, I think I'm recording. Let's share the screen. Want you to make me feel. Is it up there? Yeah, okay. Can you see everything, guys? Thank you. Pretty chill. I had a pretty good day, actually. No way, we have an extra.
Yay!
Amazing.
Here.
Give her three too, bro. Give her give them all. Only wait, hey, you can come up and grab as many as oh, you don't have to go home. If you want any more, just say the word, bro. We insist. It's on the house today. Are you guys planning on like joining TPO next semester or okay? Wait, I think it's super worth it. I feel like everyone that I met in TPO is so smart that it's made me smarter. Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. This is the Texas Product Engineering Organization Week 2. Today we're gonna cover values, variables, and functions. Okay. So for our dad joke of the week, um, what do you call a fish with no eyes? Any takers? A fish.
Yo, that was bad.
Dude, okay, icebreaker time. Everyone get up and say three fun facts. Okay, let's start.
No, bro.
Icebreaker. Oh, oh. What? Okay, I'll start with this one. I think the biggest animal I could take isn't the strongest animal. I think I could take on like a giraffe, but I think biggest animal, strongest animal is like probably like a pit bull. Like I think I could take on a pit bull. Okay.
Wait, I have a really good answer, but I want to save it for the end. So y'all go first.
What kind of no, you have to go.
No, because it's the best answer. I have to save it for that.
No, because you already ChatGPT
No,
the
I
answer.
it's not.
Okay, Shwika.
Okay, maybe like a raccoon size. I don't think I could take on a raccoon because they're kind of scary, but I think like that size. Okay. I could do.
I think probably like a zebra look cute.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
You think a raccoon size? I just thought about it. You don't think you could beat like a cow in a fight?
Oh, I don't know, but like I'm not very strong, so I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, that's valid.
What about Joyce?
I think I could take like a really skinny panda,
Can you share a little more about that? Can you share a little more about that?
like a panda, but it's
Okay, what about Lauren? See how I pulled the name out?
Yeah,
That was
that's
good.
Oh wait, you. That's good.
It's a good
All
answer.
right, so I win because my answer would be a whale. You know why? First of all, it's the biggest animal. Second of all, if you take the whale onto the beach, it can't swim, right? Do we have another participant?
Yeah.
Let's
I
go.
wasn't here last week.
Wait, you're good.
Wait, do you
Here's
know
your
how to like
entrance
pull?
fee.
Do you know how to like fork like a repo?
Wait, we can help you with that.
Okay.
I can catch up on those. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Wait, Shwika, can you try to add him to the Slack? Like, just go, or are you doing the first part of the slides? Okay, Jenna, can you go?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay. Well,
Cool.
good answer. Okay, for our next slide, Shwika, go ahead.
Okay, this is just our course overview. We're on the second week. Today we're gonna do values, variables, and functions. Thank you for coming. Okay, yes, that's the link to the Slack, so I don't think, wait, Jenna will help you get set up with that. Okay, and then, yeah, did everyone else manage to set everything up properly? Okay, there's just more. Right. Okay. Everyone has their repo set up. Okay. Okay. Basically, okay, we're gonna start out by talking about what are values. And so their values you can think of as like raw information that your program will use. And then there's a bunch of different types of data that you can use in JavaScript. And so these different types of data are just like, I guess like the different
types of values that you can use in your code. So there's numbers. There's different kinds. So if you have like 1.0, that's like a decimal number. So you can have like 1.456, blah, blah, blah. Or you can have just one, so that like rounds to the nearest whole number. So you have like 1, 2, 3. You can have Booleans, which are true and false values. So they're like a binary data type. And then you have objects, which are like more complex data types. Like if you know what an array is, it's kind of like a list of numbers. So that's like a more complex data type, so that we lump that into the category of object. And objects are mutable data types, so that means like after you make them, you can change what value they hold. But a lot of the other data types, like once you make that value, like you can't change it. And then some other ones, strings, which are like words and letters and characters. Null, which just stores like null, so it's kind of like nothing almost. Undefined, also self-explanatory, which is undefined. And then symbol, which is like a kind of complicated one, but it's like the identifier for an object. But that's not like very important to know right now. But that's just the types of values you can have in JavaScript.
Is the symbol like a pointer?
Yeah, I was reading it. It's like an object has like a key and then a value, and it's the key to it.
Okay.
And then so we have the values, which is the raw data, but it can get kind of like repetitive to just keep repeating the same like raw data. So then we have something called variable, where we can assign a name to this data and we just call that instead of having to call the raw data every time. And so it's just how we refer to this data and these values in our code. So for the example up here, we can make a variable called output, and we assign it to the string hello world. And so then if you see the two, like console.log basically just like prints out whatever's in the parentheses. And so if you see console.log output and then console.log hello world will print out the same thing, but you can see it's probably a lot easier to just type output, output, output instead of having to type out hello world every time. And especially when you get into more complex like programs and you're trying to do a lot more stuff with variables, like it's a lot easier to refer to them with a name as opposed to like the raw data. And it can also make your code more organized and readable. So then like, oh, I will get to this later, but like you can make the names more descriptive. So you don't just like have a random 10. You're like, what is that 10 for? If you have a name, you can remember like what it's for. Okay, so there's basically 3 ways to make a variable in Java. The first one is using the keyword var. So you do var name, and then you can assign it to whatever value it is. However, this is not really used that much in JavaScript anymore. So you, like rule of thumb, don't use var, but it's like the outdated version of how you make a variable. And I'll explain this more on the next slide, but it's function scoped, which means like basically if you have a block, like for example, like an if statement, and it's if this variable is created in that block, if you go outside that block, but you're still in the same function, you can still call it. Okay, this sounds a little confusing right now, but there's an example on the next slide. And then it can also be reassigned and redeclared, which means like you can make it again and you can change the value of whatever this variable is. And then let and const are the more like commonly used types. So let and const are what you want to use when you make a variable. And they're both block scoped. So if you make them inside like a certain block, like an if statement or a while loop or something, you can't access them outside of that. And then if you go on to the next slide, this probably makes a little more sense. So if you see up there, our block would be that like if statement. So it's like inside 2 brackets, 2 curly braces, that is a block. So we made var x, right, inside that block. If you look at the bottom there, console.log x, we can still call var even though it's outside of that like curly brace block. This is a little like dangerous and insecure, because then it's like you can like have like variable leaks and stuff, and it is prone to a lot more bugs when you like write a program, so that's why we don't want to do it. And the other issue with it is you can redeclare it. So if you see we have 2 var x's, so you've made like 2 x's, and that's again just like a little complicated, because then you have like 2 x variables that like mean different things. So that's just like it's prone to a lot of bugs, and therefore we don't want to use it. And then we have let and const. The difference between let and const is used for unchanging values. So constant is short for constant. So if it's a constant value, it means like you never want to change it. Whereas let is a variable that you think, oh, I might change in the future. Like I might add something to it or like subtract something from it. And so for let, what you can do, you can declare it, and then if you see we first made it 2, and then you can change the value to 200. But if you see we can't do let y again, we can't make another y variable. We can only change the value of the y variable, if that makes sense. And then for const z, like const z equals 3, we can't make another z, and we also can't change the value z because it's constant. And then again, if you see we try and print them outside of the block, we can't because it's the scope of where the variable works is inside the block. That's a lot of information. I don't have any questions about that.
Can anyone think of when a const would be useful? Like when would you use a const? Like give me an example of a const. Think smaller. Like what's a constant you like use in math or in anything? Yeah. Pi. Like let's say there's a number where you're gonna be using a lot of calculations, something that you just want to always have like handy, and you don't want to type pi is 3.14159. It's a good idea to have a const like maybe at the top of your code that just like is 3.14159.
Okay. And then kind of like Mo mentioned, having a variable, another reason that it's useful is that it makes your code a lot more readable. And so there's a couple of rules of how you can name variables in JavaScript. It has to be at least one character, but it can be however long you want. Like generally though, you don't want to make it too long because then that kind of defeats the point of readability. And it can start with a letter, an underscore, or a dollar sign, not a number. But those are just there's like yeah, you can start with the letter, underscore, dollar sign, and have all those be variable names. And then after that, it can be any combination of letters, underscores, dollar signs, and numbers. But you can't have any other like special characters in those names, like an ampersand or anything. And then no spaces are allowed. So yeah, that is the basic rules. But there's other things, right? Like because why we're creating variables, part of the reason is readability. So if you go into the next slide, we can see there's a difference between good and bad variable names. Can anyone tell me which one is the good one and which one's the bad one and why?
What about Lauren?
Yeah, which set, okay, there are basically 3 sets, right? A, B, C, first name, last name, year. Which set do you think is the better variable names and then why? And can you think of any issues we might run into if we just name them A, B, C? Readability.
It's a pretty good answer, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's essentially just readability. Like if you give someone else your code and they just see like you using A, B, C, like, what is that? But if they see first name, they're like, oh, that makes sense. I know how to use this. And then basically how do you make a variable? You can declare it and then you can initialize it. So when you declare a variable, you're basically saying, okay, this is like the variable that I have, right? So let output, I'm an output variable. And then when you initialize it, you're telling it what value this variable holds. So if you have output that holds hello world. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can first declare it and then initialize it later, or you can do it at the same time. Just depends on how you want to use it, but they basically mean the same thing. Any questions on that?
I have a question. Why would I want to declare and when would I want to declare a variable and then initialize it later? Why wouldn't I always want to just have a declaration and initialization on the same line?
Well, sometimes you might not know what the variable is supposed to hold. And so then when you move on later, then you can like, or maybe there's like a condition, right? Of like, I want this variable, but if there's X condition, I want it to hold this, there's Y condition, I want to hold that. Then you can like separate it out.
Yep.
Okay. And then this is one interesting thing about JavaScript that's probably different to any other coding languages you guys know is it's dynamically typed. So if you guys are used to like Java or Python or C++ or anything like that, you're probably used to being like int x is a number, right? Or something like that. JavaScript is dynamically typed, which means you don't have to declare what type of data your variable holds. You just like name it and then give it to it, give it a value, and then you can also change what type it is. So if you see like output, we didn't declare like, oh, output is a string. We just assigned it a string, and then we can change what type it is. So we can make it a boolean, and then a null, and then a number, and then this is all like syntactically valid versus other like coding languages like Java. That's not like you have to. That statically typed means like whatever data type you declare a variable as, you have to keep it that way. So it's something cool about JavaScript.
Hey Jenna, why could this sometimes be actually very bad and very unsecure?
Great question, Mo. Well, I mean, if you keep like changing the type of the, variable, like you could kind of like mess it up when you're coding, right? If you think something is like an int and then you change it midway to like a string and then you kind of want to get that int again, like there's kind of like that risk of that responsibility on like the programmer itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so some food for thought. Say I want to write code that outputs the area of a rectangle, areas of rectangles of different sizes, right? Let's think about how we do this. So say I have this rectangle right here. It has a length of 3 and a width of 9. Can anyone tell me, Jenny, what code would we write to print out the area of this rectangle, this 9 by 3 rectangle? Anyone maybe think of what?
System, like print, like 9 times 3 plus quotations.
Yeah, that actually is pretty close, yeah.
If you have quotations around 9 by 3, what that does is it makes it a string. So we want like the actual value of what the area is. So if we want,
Have you programmed like Java before?
But I mean, like the string, like after.
Yeah,
So,
but
like, make sure it's not an integer that you're printing.
have you programmed in Java before? Yeah, so that's like a cool thing about if you go back when she was talking about like how like you can have different types with JavaScript, to Loki doesn't matter if you're like a integer or a string type because you'll always be able to be outputted. So when you console.log, like don't worry, oh shoot. Don't worry about don't worry about adding the plus quotations, but other than that you're good.
if you know what typecasting is, it's basically when you like temporarily change the data type of a certain variable. And JavaScript kind of does that for you. It's like even if you have an int, it'll like ask it to a string and you can it out. But yeah, that's pretty close. One thing we could do, just again for like readability and organization, is declare variables for length and width, right? So like again, if someone else were to read your code, they might not know what 9 and 3 are, but if they see, well, variable length 9, variable length is 3, variable width is 9, they can tell, oh, okay, yeah, this is the length and width of the rectangle, and then yeah, console.log, we can just multiply those, and then yes, it'll automatically cast and make it a string.
Yep.
And then the second thing is like, if we want, that's good for one rectangle, right? But say we want to like calculate the area of like 50 rectangles or 100 rectangles. That's a lot of repeated code, right? So we probably want a solution to repeated code.
Amazing. So going off of what Ashika said, how many of you guys have like found yourself like copying and pasting code multiple times, right? Yep, Mohammed. So this is why functions are extremely useful. The thing about that is you're able to reuse parts of your code within your program. Thing about functions though is that, like Ashika said, it needs to be declared and named just like variables do, and I'll show you guys an example in the next slide. But before we get to that, we're gonna think about this in another way. Can someone raise their hand and tell me their favorite type of smoothie? No, Mohammed, not you, someone else. What smoothies do you guys like? Anything.
Candy for your knowledge.
Anything but
What?
with strawberry, okay. What do you need in that strawberry smoothie for it to work? What ingredients?
Milk.
Milk, perfect.
Yeah.
What else? Strawberries, milk. Let's look at sugar.
Bananas.
Bananas, perfect. So I have a smoothie, right? I'm gonna name it like blended smoothie, okay? That's my name for the smoothie. I'm gonna put strawberries, milk, and bananas in there. And then I'm gonna turn it on and make the smoothie, and by the end, I have a smoothie, right? This process is kind of mirrors how functions work, right? You have parameters, which is the ingredients that you use for the smoothie. And then whenever you want to make the smoothie, you turn it on by calling the function. And then at the end, something happens, right? You get a result. So this is how functions work. This is an example of how you kind of define a function. So you have the function keyword, then a name for the function, which you should name it in the way that Shrika described by naming variables. It's the same thing. And then you have your parameters, which are separated by commas. And then you have your function body, which in this case is printing out length times width. Right, if you go to the next slide. My best friend Mo wrote this code on the left here. As you can see, it's very, I don't know. Can someone tell me like a problem with the code on the left here? Yes,
There's too much.
exactly. So I don't know what he was thinking when he was coding this, but he must have done a lot of copy and pasting and changing values, right? So can someone tell me the correct way to maybe write this? With the function that I talked about in the last slide, it's at the top, right? But maybe for like the top, middle, and bottom, can someone tell me a way to fix this? Help Mo out, he's kind of struggling.
First one to raise their hand for this one gets double chocolate. Okay, never mind. It's only a single chocolate. Wait, what are you asking?
I'm asking how you kind of fix the duplication. So how would you use that function and what parameters would you put in to do the same thing? Yes, Mo, tell me how to do the first part.
Well, I would love to actually. The way you would do it is by doing console.log, and then I guess this is a educated guess, but maybe console.log calculate area 5, 6, and then do that for the other values?
Okay, but how would you use the function?
The function is already console.log. So how
Oh, well, I would probably call calculate area for 5, 6.
No. Okay, so Mo said, you just use a function with the parameters that you want. For example, length was 10, 9, you just place the parameters that you need. So as with calculate area 33.6. Does anyone have any questions about this? All right, perfect. Another example function, if you can change it up by if you wanted to do the parameter of it. So you basically multiply the length plus width times 2, right? And then in this case, again, it's another example of how you would use that function. And then just food for thought, obviously functions are extremely valuable, right? However, in the examples that I showed you, all it could do is just print out something, right? It would only console.log something. But what if I wanted this function to return a value? What if I wanted to use the area in another block of code, right? How would you guys think we should fix that? No, Mohammed. Anyone have any ideas? So this not console.logging anymore, but what if I wanted to keep that specific variable? So it's with an R.
It's similar to what you do in Java other than that. Did you?
Return.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so go to the next slide. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. So instead of the only thing that we're changing here is that we're returning length times width instead of printing it out. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, but this is another example of returning values. So instead of printing out, right, it saves it, it returns a value and it puts that value into the area variable, right? So that's what it's doing. And then it's taking that variable that you just got the value for and then multiplying by 2. And then as you can see, when you print out area and doubled area, it'll print out the respective values. This is another example. Can someone walk me through what is going on here? Just like maybe pseudocode it out, like just describe what it's doing. Anyone? Mo, why don't you explain the first line?
Well, looking at this first line, calculate perimeter is clearly a function. So let perimeter in feet, that's declaring a variable let and then perimeter and feet is the name of the variable. And then from there, I'm using the assignment operator to calculate perimeter, which is probably doing length and width, and then adding them together and then multiplying by 2. So my prediction is that let perimeter in feet 7, 8. 7 plus 8 is 14. You multiply it by 2. It's 15. You multiply it by 2. Just running through the code.
And then there's some like problems here when you have a return value because first of all, can anyone tell me what would happen if I ran this and I wanted something to print out? Do you guys think that this would work or no? No, right? Because after the return value, everything after that doesn't run because the value is returned and then the function stops. So if you go to the next line, this line right here is never going to be touched by the function. So whatever code you have below that will not be run. So return should be the very last thing in your function.
Okay, guys. Now we're gonna get to our demonstration for this week. If we could have all of you guys pull up y'all's GitHub repo that you guys pulled from last lecture. Once you get that out, there are some commands I want you guys to run. Just let me know when everyone has it up, like on y'all's IDE or VS Code, and then raise your hand whenever you're ready. Or put your laptop halfway down whenever you're ready. Oh no, where's my Zoom meeting? It's okay, all is good. Oh no, have I not been screen sharing? Oh, I'm sorry, guys, on the Zoom, you guys don't get a video. I'm so sorry. Oh no. I feel like I haven't. Oh no, I have been sharing. Stop share. Okay. If you're joining us via Zoom, which is a tiny population, give us a second. How do I put? Why can't I drag this thing over here? I'm trying to drag this to the screen. Why is it being so painful about it?
Wait, do you need to like exit out of this?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Oh wait, that makes so much sense. I just need to exit out of that. Oh, you're so smart. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let me know when all of you guys should be looking at something like this. And then if you're not, that's okay too. Well, yeah, well, this doesn't matter too much for now, but just tell me when you're looking at like your repository. Raise your hand if you need help getting there. Raise your hand if you're there. Can you help them set it up? Okay, for the people that are here, wait 1 second. Let me make sure I don't mess this up. Actually, I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm gonna pull this up. Go back here.
Oh, right.
Okay, so everyone's here, right? Can everyone see where their terminal is? Okay, I want to make sure can you make sure when you do PWD, it says some sort of thing with TPO JavaScript course SP26 and then your name? Does it say that for everyone when you type PWD in the thing? That's for you. What about you? Yeah, can you help like explain them how to change into that directory?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's just.
Well, that's basically you can be, you're in this like bigger folder, so we would have change up your digits. Team has one and jump to schools, which you see some.
Well, you went to so long.
But I should have been.
Yeah, wait, try to fast movie. Wait, it was like a long time, but it was like quick 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in now.
Yeah.
Okay, when he clones the repository, he's not gonna have to worry about this. So I'm predominantly talking to y'all three. Okay. Now we're gonna start learning a little about Git too, even. So this is some fun things you can learn about. If you go to the readme.md file right there, you can actually scroll down and read through, and it tells you exactly what to do whenever you want to pull changes, which is take what we added to the folder for the week, and whenever you want to add your changes. So these are good instructions to just like learn about. When it says git add files, Loki just add git add period. Use this most of the time. This is just what everyone does. Like, if you're actually working in like a corporate setting, sometimes you only want to add a few a select amount of files. But if you do git add and then a period, can everyone see this fine by the way, or do I need to zoom in? Okay. If you just do git add period, it adds all the changes you made because period is just like another way of saying everything in like regex. And then after you add the changes, you want to say you're like, sure, these changes are good. So you commit these changes by doing git commit -m, and then you put the message that you want, which can be just like week 1 finished, week 2 finished. And then when you're making projects and stuff, like whenever you finish a feature you've been working on, like feature finished, feature optimized, stuff like that. After you commit your changes, you want to git push them. Most of the time, if you're working on a local repository, you don't need to worry about origin main, but this just helps set you up for like a more corporate setting. Pulling changes, this is like, let's say like the person you're working under or like the group you're working for has made changes in the files before. It's important to do these commands. So first thing is make sure you're on the right branch, like you're pulling from the right branch. So you want to do git checkout main. So if everyone could actually write that in their terminal. Let me know if you guys have any errors or anything. After that, you want to fetch the changes that you're trying to like get. So git fetch upstream, and this is like you're fetching, like when a dog fetches, it's like you're grabbing. And then you want to do git merge upstream / main. Loki. Yeah, like these are just things you just sort of memorize. The meaning of them doesn't matter. Like if you're really in like trying to be a programmer, sure. But if you're just trying to do this like a side hustle, like these three are the most important things you need to know, and then these three are also very important. So just make sure you know these 6 commands, and that's literally all the Git you need to learn. So congrats, you guys are now all Git certified. Click enter, and should be good. Everyone have that work for them? Okay, nice. So now let's get to the actual demo. Oh, wait, we're actually not done. Let's go back to the slideshow for a bit. I was just trying to help you guys out. Anyone have any issues with any of this, by the way? Sorry. Everything's good? Okay. Okay. Now that we've learned about values, variables, and functions, let's actually make what we learned matter. Now, I'm gonna try to walk you guys through a way to not just calculate the area of rectangles, but also triangles. Nah, don't care about that. Okay, let's now go back to your code. So does everyone have this file called week2demo.javascript? Can we make sure? Everything good? Anyone not have this file? Raise your hand if you're having any issues at all right now. So everyone's doing good? Okay. So first off, let's look at calculate triangle. And I'm actually not gonna write this for you guys. I want you guys to think about it for like about a minute and then raise your hand whenever you think you have an answer. What should I put inside of this function?
My computer.
Does anyone have any issues other than that? All right, let's get back to the calculating triangle area, guys. So raise your hand if you have any idea how we should calculate the triangle area. How about Keandre? Well, you're given the base and height. Let's say you're given base and height, right? How do you get an area of a triangle with the base and height? Okay, now can you say that to me in code? Yeah, that's the function we're in. So when you want to give a value back to the function, do you remember when Ashwika was like having that like little like talk, I think, or was it Jenna? I don't remember. But when someone was like, it starts with the letter R and it's you. Okay, what do you want to return? Okay, so now we have a hypothetically working function, but you never want to be too sure. Let's do some testing. What's your name again? Milan, it's nice to meet you. How would we define some variables to test this?
Um, like, I do like, console dot, well, actually I do like console dot log, calculate triangle area, 5, 2.
That is actually very accurate, but
That seems like if it equals 5, then
how about how would you define the variables though? Like for 5 and 2, what would you call it?
oh, let, uh, base equal 5, and let, height equal.
Well, he already sort of spoiled the answer, but Lauren, do you think you can tell us how we would actually show this and test if it works or not? Um, okay, this is a little niche, so I'll go ahead and explain this. When you want to run your code in JavaScript, to be honest, I don't actually know why or the reason. It's just like a neat little weird thing with JavaScript. You always have to get to where the file will be. So if you guys could change your directory into week 2, if you guys aren't there already, and then to run this file, actually, you're gonna need to you remember. Oh, I remember. You do node week 2 demo.js. Does that work for everyone? And then click run. And we see we have 5. So we're done extremely early. So I'm actually gonna clip farm like another question for you guys. I'm gonna make function calculate circle area that only takes in the radius. Does anyone have any ideas how we should go about this? It's gonna be pretty simple. What's up, Joyce? Can you name as many letters of pi as you know? That's hard. Okay. Is that it? That is it. And then can you explain to me how you would maybe initialize a variable for this? And then let's do it. Okay, guys, and since it's still 3:45, I want everyone to make their own function of choice and make it do something that you guys think might be useful to do over and over again. So take your time doing that, and we'll come around when the clock hits 6:50. Thank you for raising your hand. You too. You raise your hand too. You know what? I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. We'll use TPO's money.
We do need like 2 more because you did raise your hand and answer it.
Oh,
No.
good looks. Let me see if there's any more Twix in here. Thanks, man. It's a great idea. You know, hey, bro, you get one more. Congrats. No, I insist. I insist. No, what? How many answers? Oh, you did answer a question. Okay, you deserve one too. Okay. See, I'm trying to be a good person, and she chose to not give you any more. I'm so sorry. Take you get your time, guys. You have 4 more minutes. And then we'll actually make this a contest. Whoever has the coolest function gets a candy. And you can use ChatGPT to code it too if you really want.
Oh. I didn't think that. Okay. I won't get that. Would you recommend going for right now?
What is your function, Joyce, since you're not typing on the keyboard? Don't make me mad, bro. Please do something useful, please. Do a function that can find the Pythagorean theorem. Or like a Boolean check triangle that takes in an A, B, and dude, what? Just do it. Please. And then you can do like a check right triangle. Dude, just use AI. Just search up, just go to Gemini.com. Search up, make me a Pythagorean theorem. Some guys are really excited to use this room. Sucks we have it booked until 7 p.m. You guys have 3 more minutes, so don't feel any rush. If you guys are having any syntax issues or anything, oh, and just so you guys, does everyone know how the Node thing works? How you can run code with Node? Okay, what's your question?
Like in JavaScript, do they not have like public or private or like static?
I think they do have static variables actually. It's like, I would assume it's like C almost, where static is like how you define if it's public or private. Let's check. The Java. Yeah, it actually just got introduced very recently. If you put a hashtag before the name of your variable, it's private. But that's like very recent. No one, it's not something you really need to worry about with JavaScript because most of your code should be defined in functions. So it should be terminated after a function call anyways, if that makes sense.
They didn't have like private variables, but I think like a common, just like, rule of thumb was that if you wanted a variable that you wanted to be like private, quote unquote, you put underscore and then write the name, and that indicates that it's meant to be like a private variable, even though like technically wasn't, it was just like a short.
Like for constant pi, we'd probably do constant
Yeah.
underscore pi. Yeah, JavaScript has a lot of issues just like being like a good modern language. Like it's very behind on those things. And the things that it does integrate is super weird. Like why can't I just write the word private const?
Great function ideas, don't do what's your idea.
It's actually the Pythagorean theorem.
Amazing. Can you explain to me how the square root function works in JavaScript?
This will be-
What did Gemini give you? I actually want to know. What about anyone else want to share there? Because Pythagorean theorem is pretty hard to beat, but if someone beats it,
That's a pretty tough.
they get a really good, they get their choice even. So you don't get a random one. So there's a Twix in here. You get a Twix. Can someone please blarp and act like they like I matter? These guys I'm getting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Just so that you save it onto your repo.
So here's how you do that, guys. Can add and then git commit
What's the toughest equation in the world?
finish. Probably like the quadratic formula. No, it's definitely
Oh,
like
wait.
negative b. That's tough.
Oh,
That is very true.
Anyone, any other takers? First taker gets any other ones, please.
He just got it set up.
You-
Right
if
now,
you-
no,
if
chill.
You could, what would, is your idea quadratic?
Yeah, like,
It's amazing.
if you had like the user enter like A, B, and C, like not the X squared. But like, I wouldn't just do like a B with a square.
Nice. Well, what about you, Joyce?
Subtract two. You would put a number and then it returns.
Wait, low-key, I really like that.
Yeah.
It's like a calculator,
Yeah.
right?
Name 3 use cases, you know?
Yeah. See, they all
It's not even a
like it.
one function calculator, it is a subtract 2 calculator.
Professors, they're just gonna require that calculator just before they're like graphing.
Yeah,
Aw.
it's true.
Subtract two.
Yeah, yeah.
And in case you want to subtract 1, you gotta pray you know the number. Okay, any other ideas? Yeah, we know that.
Bro, we have 8.
Yeah, I don't know what that guy's issue is.
Ah, that's tough. Okay.
That is a pretty good one. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to do the homework, which is not a strict requirement,
That's good practice if you want to get better.
bye everyone. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
And if you go to the second file right there, it's write a function that converts feet to inches. So I think anyone can do that right now, but you don't have to.
Slides, there's more details on the slides. So.
Okay. Hello, Zoom, who is very active. Thank you guys for coming to my lecture. I'll see you guys later.